The Chicago White Sox are having a historically bad year in the 2024 MLB season. They've gone 22-61 in the first half, the worst in franchise history, and are on track to have one of, if not the worst, records in the entirety of the MLB. What makes it even worse is that, as recently as 2021, they were on the top step of their division and fighting it out in the ALDS. They'd made it to back-to-back playoffs after an 11-year streak of missing out. I'm giving myself 5 years to rebuild the White Sox and return them to the promised land. I have 3 goals. 1. Get back to the playoffs. 2. Maintain a top 10 farm system. And 3. Get attendance back to record numbers. This isn't going to be easy, so let's get cracking. At first glance, this team actually has some bright spots. Garrett Crochet leads the rotation with his dominating 3-pitch arsenal, and rangy center fielder Lewis Robert Jr. is the star man in the lineup. There are a couple of quality prospects too. Colson Montgomery has the potential to be a perennial all-star at second base, and Edgar Quero has some great tools for our starting catcher. But then, once we get through those guys, not much to work with. We're using the live start game mode in OOTP, so there isn't much time to make meaningful changes to the lineup. Let's get up to the draft and see how we're performing before we do anything rash.
Let's go, 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 White Sox!
Okay, so we're at draft day, and a couple of things have happened. First off, I got a bit of a scare in my inbox when I was told my assistant GM decided to boot our backup catcher off the squad, but with the negative 1.3 WAR on the year and only an above-average defense and captain personality to keep him here, I didn't need to give it much thought. Oh, and now is probably a good time to mention that I'm not controlling the team. It's up to the staff to make the most of the players I give them. I have locked the major prospects into the teams and positions I want them in, though. Anyway, the other thing that happened is we actually went 500 for the 12 games leading up to the draft. We still suck, but this might help us avoid that historic losing season. We're almost at 300 now on the year, so let's hope we can get our hands on some decent players in the draft. We pick 5th, and I'm really hoping a college player drops to us. With the OSA mock draft putting Charlie Condon down in 4th, I was hoping for a little magic, but sadly it wasn't to be. He goes pick number 1 to the Guardians, and he's probably going to be a monster. Oh well, let's see what happens for Chicago. Going 5th overall for the Chicago White Sox in the 2024 first-year player draft is a player I'm going to enjoy saying the name of over and over again, Trey, you savage! He's a college pitcher with the potential to have 4 great pitches with above-average movement. Our second pick is high schooler Andre Madugno. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. I don't think he'll maximize that power potential, but with a below-average defensive profile, he might be able to be trained into something serviceable by our final year in charge. There are a lot of middling prospects hanging around in the 3rd round, but this one really intrigued me. We've taken college relief pitcher Tyson Neighbors, who with 3 lights-out pitches and 30 stamina could either get some stamina training to become a starter or be a dominant stopper or closer for us within 2 to 3 years. But wait, there's more! Because we've grabbed a pretty much identical prospect in the 4th round. Wyatt Lunsford Schenkman, say that name 3 times fast, and Tyson Neighbors. Remember the names, I think they could be something pretty special. Our 5th pick is our first college position player in Nathan Archer. He looks like he'll develop into someone who mashes righties well but might struggle against lefties. The AI doesn't tend to go for platoons, so that might be something I have to force if he ends up getting to his full potential. That's enough looking to the future. We'll talk when we get to the trade deadline to see if there are any moves we can make to bolster up the team.
Let's go, 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 White Sox!
We've made it to the trade deadline with a 10-14 record in July, a big boost compared to the real-life Sox. We've actually gone from 13th to last in ERA over our time in charge, so the less said about this, the better. We aren't on track for the worst result in history, though, unless I just jinxed it. Some even better news from July is that we've locked down the young catcher Quero for the next 12 years. We're only playing some of those, but I'd imagine we can use him up quite well with some defensive work in the development lab every off-season. But we need to figure out what to do with trades. I don't think we're going to be able to do much today, but I'm already off to an alright start, shipping 2 older minor leaguers for relief pitcher Ian Gibbo. Another great name. The Reds didn't want him going through arbitration, so we've snapped up a reasonable middle reliever for some players we probably wouldn't have renewed ourselves. Let's see what else we can do. I'm actually getting more done than I'd expected. The Rays were happy to do a reliever swap, Soroka for Adam, and we got an interesting outfield prospect, Chandler Simpson, after throwing in a below-average starting prospect in Noah Schultz. Soroka was in the last year of their contract, and Adam is just better on paper, so we easily win this trade in the long term. We instantly got Adam onto a 3-year, $3.6 million contract with 2 team options. I think I could have got him for less, but I won't worry too much about it. Now for an absolute bumper trade, all based around 2 very overpaid players, we got rid of Benintendi's massive 4-year contract and got back a mostly retained Montero, who'll sit at the back of the rotation next year, giggling about how many prospects we had to pass over to get the deal done. Dominic Fletcher will be a big miss, he's a strong depth piece, but it's worth it to get that contract off the books. And that's it. That's all the trades I could get done. What do you reckon? Has the team improved? Are we looking any better? I don't know yet, but we'll definitely find out by the end of the season. I'll see you there.
Let's go, 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 White Sox!
As we come to the end of the season, our champion is the LA Dodgers. Their team of superstars kept solid throughout and managed not to choke against the Orioles, who will probably continue to be favorites for the next couple of years with their young team. We ended up on a 55-107 record, last but not historic. Let's be real, that was the hidden 0th goal of the rebuild, so we're already off to a winning start. In our hearts, anyway. Colorado really tried to hunt us down for the worst record in baseball, and at one point had us sweating, but we kept losing down the stretch and managed to hold the number 1 spot. Wait, why am I commentating like that's a good thing? There's the new draft lottery, so even if we're last, there's no guarantee we'll be picking first. In terms of whether we improved or not during the season, I think it's a yes. September was almost as bad as real life, but we were 1 game off 500 in August, so I'd say we definitely held our own more than what could have happened. For our pitching, Crochet was obviously incredible, but Eric Fedde also had a quality season in the rotation. Tanner Banks was our best reliever, and the trade for Gibaut has been successful so far. As for the everyday players, as expected there weren't any particular standouts other than Robert, but Yohan Moncada and Paul DeJong both had solid, if bit-part seasons. Montgomery is looking like he'll be ready to start next season. Whether we keep him down for some service time manipulation or not remains to be seen. Guerrero looks less ready. I think we'll wait and see how he takes to the lab. Savage, still a brilliant name, had a reasonable start to life in A-ball, and we've kept our top 10 farm for now. Montgomery is actually the number 1 prospect, so that will probably change when he gets called up to the show. The boss has boosted our budget from last year. Not that I had much influence in setting budgets then, but an extra $18 million will keep me very, very happy. We can make a dent in the league and the draft with that, but we'll have to find out what happens to the White Sox going into 2025 next time round.